Hello, my name is Kobe Williams, host of Palmetto Happenings with Kobe, a show all about economic development, workforce development, commercial real estate, and tourism within the great state of South Carolina. Today, I'm here with Mr. Adam Cates of Trad Commercial. How are you doing today, Adam?
I'm well. How are you, Kobe?
Life is good. Life is good. So tell our viewers about yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Adam Cates. I'm a senior advisor and president here at Trad Commercial. I've got in the business with Trad in 2006 here in Myrtle Beach, and we've kind of grown ourselves to be the largest commercial brokerage firm in the area. We also, our sister company, Trad Management, has a portfolio of several 100,000 square feet of commercial space under management, and then they also handle some property owners association management. So we kind of run the gamut here on the Grand Strand.
Yeah, you guys are certainly a giant in development and commercial real estate and even residential in the Grand Strand area. So
absolutely.
Can you give me some the recent successes of Trad or something notable that you'd like to highlight?
We've had a lot of them. You know, I think what I'm most proud of here with our company is we've kind of created an environment where our agents, we all work well together, we all cooperate, we work as a team on many assignments, and at the same time that what I would call our green guys, the guys that have been in the business for, I would say, less than 3 years, all of them are in addition to being hardworking full-time agents, that they kind of carve out little niches for themselves, and they're pursuing professional development, professional education. So they're sharpening the tip of the spear that, I really feel like kind of gives us an edge when we're out there representing our clients.
Yeah, and your people understand the region, too. They understand not just the land, but the economy, but they also understand the community and the theme that we're trying to follow, as a community.
That's right. So me personally, I live in Myrtle's Inlet. We've got 2 guys here in Myrtle Beach. We've got 1 guy in Gallivants. Well, we have 1 guy in Gallivants Ferry, 1 in Conway, 1 in North Myrtle. We have 3 in Myrtle Beach. So we're in a really good spot. We're able to really cover the area the way we need to, and we handle a little. I want to say a little bit. We handle a lot of everything. We've got guys that are on retail. Office, industrial, and land have always kind of been my thing. That's kind of where I'm at. But we've got guys in here that might, they might only do 3 or 4 deals a year, but they're giant land deals. And everybody's kind of carved out their little niche. We all work hard. We're all roughly the same age. None of us are approaching retirement or anything like that. So we're all running and gunning at the same season in life.
Yeah,
it's just a good time to be at Trad Commercial.
You mentioned industrial, and that's what I think of when I think of you in the Grand Strand economy. What can you maybe talk about the industrial space that you work with here?
Yeah, so we have we've had a couple smaller kind of flex industrial projects that we've been involved with over the years. One of the senior partners in the company was involved in the development of the North Industrial Park out by the airport and the Conway Commerce Park out in Conway. Here lately, we've been privileged to be hired by Edgewater Ventures out of Wilmington. They're actually the largest industrial property owner in the Myrtle Beach MSA. Now you got to think when you think about the Myrtle Beach MSA, traditionally it's always been, people think of us as being from Georgetown up to the state line. Well, our MSA now, it's been recategorized, and it goes from the southern boundary of Horry County and Myrtle's Inlet and north to the essentially the Cape Fear River, where it splits New Hanover and Brunswick counties. They're a massive industrial owner up in that area. Chris Norvell leads that team. He was a whaler out of Raleigh. He did a lot of big deals.
Yeah,
and he was able to pull together a private equity partner out of the Midwest. And they came to town a couple of years ago, and we sat down and had a conversation as to what's the best place in Horry County for us to build a distribution warehouse. And the more we looked at it, when you factored in drive times, when you factored in future road plans and everything, that spot's Water Tower Road and Highway 31.
100% agree with
So
that.
he's got a project out there where we have several different phases. I'm sure you're well aware of the Pepsi bottling distribution company that is out there right now. We've got another 165,000 square feet where the slab's poured and everything. They're going vertical on the building. We have 2 or 3 tenants that are interested in leasing that building. We're certain that we're going to have this thing full by the end of the year. So we've had a lot of interest in that property.
That's what I was hoping you were going to talk about, because the Edgewater Ventures project out I drive past it every day. Coming from Loris, going to work coast from Myrtle Beach, all that stuff. It's a beautiful spot of land, and it complements. It's nice to look at too. I like it. What kind of tenants? Beyond the Pepsi bottling ventures, are there any other tenants around in that area?
Yeah, so we've targeted a couple. What I would say, a couple manufacturing users. We've had a couple distribution-oriented users come along. The thing is, in Horry County, you have where the Palmetto Coast Industrial Park is. That's close to the residents. That's close to all the population on the ocean front. It's really a good last leg distribution facility. It's primed for that. I really think that in the future, though, I think you'll see more of that over time as going further inland. But I think you're going to see your manufacturing be at Cool Springs and Ascot Valley, out there off of Adrian Highway.
Yep.
I think you're going to see your manufacturing will be out there, but I think as far as your distribution goes, I think you're going to see that be a little bit closer to the coast.
Yeah. Diversification of industry and the Grand Strand. I love it. And this is, that's what I think of whenever, as you were talking, that's what I think. That's the whole theme of our economy, is that we're trying to diversify. We're not just tourism. We got manufacturing, we got distribution, we got Silicon Valley related endeavors going on out here. It's awesome. It's all in line with the population growth of our region. We're the fastest growing MSA in the country. I'm glad that you pointed out that our MSA goes into North Carolina a little bit too. That because that's a huge growth area, and that's a critical part of our MSA, and we're the fastest growing as a result. What more opportunities can we harness to really capture the full benefit of that population growth?
The nature of the growth that we're having right now is tilted towards retirees, and be it that it's tilted towards retirees, we're going to have mostly a service-based economy here. I've heard and don't peg Sandy Davis with this quote. I've heard this number somewhere, but I want to think there are like 500 tech companies in Horry County right now.
Wow.
As you sit, because there's so many people that are small businesses that have relocated from elsewhere, and they live over in Carolina Forest and Waterbridge, and their house is big enough where they have a home office. I think you're going to see those kinds of businesses come here. I think they're going to continue to come here. We have to be able to deliver a good quality of life. I think you're going to have that. I think you're going to have. You're still going to need more tradesmen. Whether you continue to have the building growth that in Horry County that we've had in recent years, or whether that slows down, there's still people that are coming here that aren't necessarily. They may have been somebody that would change out their toilet 20 years ago, but they're probably not going to do it now. And you're going to need more plumbers. You're going to need more electricians.
Yeah.
You're going to need more of what has traditionally been called the blue collars.
The trades, yeah.
The trades.
Yeah.
And so you're going to see an expansion of that. People are going to continue to want to eat out here. They're going to continue to want to go to good restaurants. And I think most importantly in this area, when people come here, what will keep them here is going to be their ability to get health care. they're going to have decent benefit plans. They're going to have decent insurance. They're going to have Medicare. But if we don't have enough doctors to really service these people are going to go either back home or they're going to go elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's most important moving forward for this area from an economic standpoint is that we've got to focus on some intangibles that we haven't focused on in the past. I don't want to say we haven't focused. It hasn't been the top thing that we're talking about, but when a doctor or when people come to this area, what are the best schools? And right now you're looking at St. James and Aner. Fortunately, in South Carolina, we do have school choice,
mm-hmm.
and that gives some people some flexibility to get their kids in some good schools. We don't have private schools here yet. We need
opportunities, diversification of those opportunities.
We've got to have good schools here,
mm-hmm.
and from a leisure standpoint, it's hard for me. I grew up about an hour and a half to 2 hours north of here in North Carolina,
mm-hmm.
and in my mind, it's so difficult for me to wrap my mind around that there needs to be anything else to do beyond what we have. I mean, you've got the beach, you've got the water, you've got golf. What I've heard has been what I've heard is we are deficient in has been somewhat of the arts element,
mm-hmm.
and the scientific element. When you're getting doctors and you're getting engineers and you're getting the academics here, there's certain things that they're going to want their children and their families to be involved in, and I think we're a little bit lacking on that right now.
Yeah,
I think I think the city of Myrtle Beach with their Arts and Innovation District
yep.
are trying to figure out how to kind of create an incubator for that.
Yeah.
And
I saw a picture of the rendering for that on the social media the other day. It was awesome.
It's we're involved in that project as well,
mm-hmm.
and I can tell you there's been a ton of demand there's a ton of demand for that down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of getting the right users in the right spots.
Yeah.
So
you referred to. I mean, we have some great magnet schools as well.
Mm-hmm.
Here we got the Scholars Academy. We have early college where you can get your associate's degree in high school. Product of that.
mm-hmm.
We have AAST, Academy for Arts, Science, and Technology, ATA, Academy for Technology and Academics, which I've recently got to tour, and it's a fantastic facility. So we have a lot of opportunities here, mm-hmm. and I think it's great that I think what's going to happen is those opportunities are going to be more highlighted, and those certification opportunities are going to be more highlighted, and I'm excited about that because
mm-hmm.
it's going to benefit our local school kids and also higher education as well, with Georgetown Technical College and Coastal Carolina University, which are two fine higher institutions for higher education. What other opportunities do you see aside from like residential and what you've talked about? But I just like maybe focus on the idea of what would complement these industrial parks further that would go around like the physical space, such as the Edgewater Ventures project.
I think in terms of what would help expedite some of these projects,
mm-hmm.
I think there's little things that we haven't experienced yet in this area because we haven't had that kind of product yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a couple years ago over on George Bishop Parkway, there's a similar warehouse where I think it's called like the export zone is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's approximately 200,000 square foot warehouse. It's divided up into many different units. And they have had issues there. They had issues in the past because tractor trailers couldn't effectively pivot into that property.
Mm-hmm.
The roads weren't wide enough to do it. When they built that project,
mm-hmm.
And it's funny. I remember coming down here as a 2 or a 3-year-old and going to the Waccamaw Pottery outlets and them having some crazy toy stores. But when you get off the road there, that was initially just supposed to be an industrial park right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until really the recession that they connected George Bishop with Harrelson Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, now you had people coming up 17, making a left with a tractor trailer, and they didn't have a they didn't have it's not a decel lane. They didn't have a turn lane into that George Bishop Parkway. And Alan Clemens, who is our, what is he, magistrate now?
Master in Equity.
Master in Equity. Alan Clemens, when he was our state house rep, I think I remember him working to get that turn lane put in place so that there would be some flow there. I mean, that was like the only building. There was that one, and then there was one off of Fritz Collins Road. I think Myra Starnes is involved with. And that was the only one that was like right there near the highway, but people just had a tough time turning in. We kind of encountered that a little bit at PCIP, and we were able to get some road funding to kind of widen that road a little bit.
Perfect.
And give us some, so I think moving forward, it's going to be important in our area. We always think of things when we do the roads as, they've got to be safe. And I think we're getting to a point now where the road improvements that you're going to see, hopefully will factor some of that into it. When we start planning for industrial sites, you got to be able to get in and out easy.
Yeah.
So, that kind of leads into something else that I'm sure we would discuss today, would be the roads.
Yeah.
And, what are we going to do about the roads? I've been fortunate to serve as on the Horry County Transportation Committee, appointed by the state delegation for that. And it's really amazing to me to see, and it's not really any fault of anybody. We just have so many roads in this area. When you think about how many roads in the western part, in Gallivant's Ferry and Nichols, south of Conway and the Dongola area, how many of these roads, you might have a 6 or 7 mile long road, and it hasn't been paved or worked on in the last 40 years. It's a farm to market road, I think kind of moving forward, that's going to be the tough nut to crack in Horry County, is how do we solve this road issue?
Yeah, and infrastructure.
That's right.
That is a huge issue, and I think as we're talking, that was actually something I was hoping to talk about because it's all part of the legislative priorities of the city of Myrtle Beach. Well, really the region. I mean, all the different municipalities in this area, in Horry County and the Waccamaw region. And I think as we're talking, I see the industrial concept is. It's going to force better infrastructure. It's like if you don't get better infrastructure, well, a lot of opportunities are going to be wasted. And I think this is going to push, in a subtle way, push these our elected officials, our leaders, economic leaders, forward to get us the money that we need to get these roads.
What's rough. I represented CCIR. It's been probably 2 or 3 years ago. We went to there was a C5 conference. It's a commercial broker conference. They held it in New York. It was right at the tail end of COVID, and we had this. There was a speaker that got up and spoke from the New Jersey Port Authority, and there was a project they were securing $2 billion for, and the problem that they had to solve was coming in from New Jersey. There was like 5 to 8 rail lines that come into New York, and then when they come out on the other side of New York, it comes out as like 2 or 3 rail lines, and it's like I think it had to go through a tunnel or under a highway. There was some big logistical element. But when you think about it, the way that they quantified and they secured that funding was, I think it was like 23% of our GDP in the United States is tied to that one bottleneck in the rail right in New York, essentially New York City. And I think in our area, as it relates to I-73, what we've got to figure out, and that's the big pink elephant in the room in any conversation we have on roads on the Grand Strand, is how do we quantify the economic impact of I-73 going from here to Sault Ste. Marie in Michigan. I think it's important that we all get together and we articulate that. We're up against something like that where the 23% of existing GDP is tied to that. That's something that you can't neglect. That you've got to solve that problem.
Collaboration.
Yeah, you've got to collaborate for it, and
that's why I say the Waccamaw region.
Yeah,
I'm trying to change my vocabulary to say Waccamaw because it's a better flavor.
We're gonna have to work with our neighbors in Brunswick County and figure out how to get 31 through 17.
Yeah.
There's a lot that can be done, and it's just a matter of people working together to get it there.
So we talk about transportation, but in the meantime, there's also the concept of public transportation as well, because a lot of these folks we talk on, the Silicon Valley of the South, or the tech companies that are already here. These people that are moving down here, that are down here, that haven't just incorporated down here, and they're full time down here. They may want to see public transportation. Can you talk on that topic?
Yeah, that's a difficult nut to crack in this area. When you think about, let's say New York City, for example, or you think about Washington, D.C., or Boston or Chicago, and you look at, let's say, Times Square, and you just draw a linear line 5 miles out from Times Square, you're off of the island of Manhattan.
Yep.
And you're in 5 miles away is going to be what is it?
Not Hoboken.
Hoboken, Long Island, places like that. You're just talking about 5 miles. In this area, and that's to pull people in Hoboken. That's to pull people in Newark. That's to pull people off Staten Island and Long Island. It's to pull everybody into the city, right? In this area, I'm sitting here in Myrtle Beach, and I go 5 miles west, and I'm maybe on the west side of Carolina Forest. Okay, so you can pull those people in, but the amount of money it's going to cost to make that happen is going to be tough. The people from a manufacturing perspective that you need are like between Florence and Aner. The Gresham area, these areas where it's going to be very difficult. I mean, it's just not going to be cost effective to run a 20-mile rail line in and out. I think, as it relates to, the good thing is about tech jobs is you need to pull fiber optic, you need to pull that cable, but you don't have to do a road. You don't have to widen a road to get a tech.
It's invisible.
It's essentially invisible. So I think that's part of the piece to the puzzle as to how we diversify economically without having to go. I mean, it costs to repave a road. It costs it used to cost like $750,000 a mile. With the increased cost of labor, the increased cost of goods, the increased cost of gas. We're now over $1.25 million.
Yeah.
So it's very expensive. It's very costly, and we're in this spot where we've got to figure out, how do we diversify and make things happen. I think the tech companies are the way to go. I think the tech companies are the way to go, but we're going to have fiber optic. Now, when you go and you talk to, the people over at Ori Telephone, they can deliver high-speed fiber optic anywhere in this area. They're delivering as far north as Lumberton right now. Their service areas from Lumberton, North Carolina, all the way down. They probably go, I would imagine they would go out somewhere in the southern Florence County, Marion County area.
Yeah, they're in Marion, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they're doing a fantastic job of getting ahead of the curve, pulling that cable, and I think Ori Telephone is going to be a real critical partner to diversifying this area. I
mean, everyone needs to be at the table. Everyone needs to be at the table 100%. Mindful too. Be 100% on board. You gotta have HC, Santee Cooper, the developers in this area, SC Power Companies in the state, Department of Commerce, everyone. And you got to understand that in the land of opportunity, Ori County is that opportunity. We have a lot of good stuff going on, but we also have some serious needs, and that's kind of the reason why I want to talk to you about it. Because I mean, you're a part, you play a part in the solving of these. Is there anything else you would like to highlight on while we have everyone's attention?
It's Myrtle Beach is a great place to be right now. It's, to my point, coming from an hour and a half away, a less than desirable place that I grew up. I don't really want to be anywhere else. I think this is a great spot. I really think there's no better place to be in terms of growth right now than Myrtle Beach. I think that population's growing, service sector's growing, your ability to consume products and services, be it get fencing, order a pizza, go shopping, anything. The offering in Myrtle Beach today is much more diverse than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to continue to be that way. I think it's a matter of getting the right projects. I think in the western part of the county, what's going to be interesting for us is how do we have balanced growth, and because the growth's going to come one way or another. It's coming, and it is. We have a stool in this area. We're sitting on a three-legged economic stool, right? And you have tourism, you have healthcare, and you have real estate and development. And if you kick out one of those legs of the stool's going to fall.
Yep.
And so it's going to be important that we maintain all of that. I think when you see development come to the western part of the county, I hope the county, and I think they're on board with it. I think understand too. I don't think all of the elected officials in the county are necessarily anti-growth and anti-development. It's just this infrastructure thing.
The right kind of development, though.
That's right. And if you get the right kind of development where you have a neighborhood and you have a strip center or something nearby, where you're not funneling all the traffic into certain points of the county, I think balanced growth, you'll see some really cool things happen, I think, in the near future. But we just got to keep things going as they are. I remember trying to get on my feet in 2007 and 2008. Man, I remember there was a month where like not a single building permit was pulled in this county, and it's hard for me to imagine that today.
Yeah.
We've just been going so hard for so long.
It is. And listen, your reasoning for being here is the same reason I'm here. It's an exciting time to be in the Myrtle Beach area. Myrtle Beach, Conway, North Myrtle Beach, Morris, even. There's growth out there, and it's just, and even Aner. I think I said Conway. I don't know if I said Conway, but Conway's. I love Conway.
Don't leave Conway out now.
I'm not going to leave Conway. The Halloween, South Carolina, by the way. In a couple months. So I like that, and I appreciate your leadership in our region. And thank you for joining the show today.
I appreciate you, Kobe.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for watching this episode of Palmetto Happenings with Kobe. Follow the Palmetto Happenings with Kobe on social media. We post videos on my LinkedIn, Kobe Williams, Charles Kobe Williams, MBA, I think that's my official name on LinkedIn, and the Grant Center for Real Estate and Economics, and Tipping Point Development, our partners for this project. And just follow us. And thank you so much for joining the show.